Hello guys, yes, you see it right. I'm on a whole screen.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Because last time I did that, it went so well. That I was like, hey, I'm gonna do it again. And you know what, even if that video didn't do so well, I wanna try it again because I do like to actually share my views with you guys. And also because I had to post a video and because I still am working on the texturing of our robot. So yes, I am coming up with the next part, probably at the end of this week. But I want to finish the texturing in Quixel Mixer, give you a little review over what I did, and afterwards get to the next part, which is actually creating another texture, but in Blender. So we can actually compare the workflows and also even the result. But until we actually get there, I wanted to actually talk about something that is pretty important to me, and I hope to you too, because it does affect 3D artists in general, and that is Unreal State. Because I think it was last week, and I did see it in the weekend, and I did actually prepare this video a little bit, and I just wanted to kind of get my point on this, and also kind of share with you the information. But before I actually do that, please follow me. Subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed, leave a like on this video if you do like it, and also leave a comment if you like these kind of videos where I'm actually trying to talk to you. Also, please leave comments with your opinions on the Unreal State, if you saw it, what you think of it, and what you think of, well, the future of 3D artists with, you know, these being unveiled. So let's actually get into the video. So as you can see behind me, by the way, I have a pen in my hand to point out stuff. This is Marvel 1943, as the title here can actually say, and I'm pretty sure you read it already, so it was no point for me to say it. But this was the big thing. This was the big announcement from the Unreal state of play, basically, or it's called the State of Unreal, I think. Well, it was the big surprise for a couple of reasons. First of all, for all of us game lovers here, this is actually amazing. The reason for it is because we're going to get a pretty cool game with some of our favorite Marvel characters, which are Captain America and Black Panther. And in 1943, which should be a pretty interesting environment to actually play around in as two superheroes. Now, what does this actually mean? Because, yes, the whole concept of a new game is actually pretty cool, but what even cooler is Unreal did unveil some impressive, and I mean absolutely mind-blowing kind of impressive things about this game when they announced it. But before we get into that, there's one more thing that they did talk about, which is the animation War is Over. So War is Over is a short animation, a short film. That's actually, I'm gonna put a link in the description from the guy that actually created it. It's an 11-minute short animation that I think you have to find on the internet. It's not on YouTube, unfortunately, but you will find a trailer on YouTube. That's what I'm going to put a link to. And it's actually a pretty cool piece, which actually did win an Oscar, and yes, it is made in Unreal, and you know, that's why actually they unveiled it. And some of you might ask, hey, but why do you talk about Unreal? You do Blender tutorials, and well, Quixel Mixer now, but still. Well, the big point is I don't just do that. If you did follow this channel for a little bit, I actually want to become a game developer, and Unreal is the engine I chose to actually work in, and I do hope by probably the middle of the summer I can actually start practically working in Unreal and even rendering some of the stuff there, especially after they announced Unreal 5.4. And the big reason for it is, well, I'm actually now gonna get exactly into what they announced, which is, when they announced this game, the big surprise was...
Our cat friend is definitely here too. By the look of things, he's not very far ahead.
The American boy is right on your heels.
Who the hell are you?
If you wanted us dead, we'd be dead. So what do you want?
Answers.
That's far enough!
Stay out of my way!
Stand aside!
I do not take orders from anyone!
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
People might not think this. This isn't some custom demo that we made just for this show. That's our game.
That is your
right? All the sequences you just saw in that trailer are all pulled right out of our game, running real time in Unreal Engine 5, no smoke and mirrors.
Yes, you heard it right. They actually announced that this trailer, everything we saw, is rendered in real time. Now, for those of you that might not understand what it is, because if you're like new to this 3D art stuff, it might be a little bit complex, right? So the way this works is Eevee, for example, because I'm gonna take Blender, right? Eevee is a real-time engine. It basically renders everything right in front of you at that point in time. However, engines such as Cycles, they don't do that. What they actually do is basically render more images. You basically give it like, let's say 100, and from that 100 they will improve more and more the picture until they get the perfect render that they can get for you. Of course, both of them came with some advantages and disadvantages. Of course, real-time means faster rendering, means you can actually see in real time what you're doing and how this will affect your scene. The problem with it was lighting was not computed, at least not realistically. You still compute light, but you know, way more animated, more rough way. So yes, there are ways to actually get around Eevee's problems, but it would never really be like Cycles because it doesn't have ray tracing, so it cannot do. Now with the upcoming Eevee Next, which is an update that I think will come in Blender 4.1, if not, it might actually show up in Blender 4.2, I'm not really sure about that. What will happen is Eevee will get a little bit better, but I'm kind of getting lost in this, right? So the real time, this is what it kind of means. But the biggest difference for you to even understand even better than that is when you look at a game, for example, right, you have cutscenes which are composed, which are rendered basically, aside from the game, which is, let's say, done with Cycles. And then there is the actual gameplay, which is usually created in a real-time engine that, you see in front of you. And that is, let's say, done with Eevee. The reason I'm kind of pointing it this way is because it's, for us Blender users at least, it's easier to understand it this way. So while you play, you will have a render engine such as Eevee. While you actually look at a cutscene, you will see what was rendered with Cycles. The difference between them is Eevee has to render everything in front of you in real time, and even harder than that, you can interact with objects that are affected by your actions. So that's why rendering in real time is usually not as strong as the other renders, because it has to do so much more than just actually show you the pretty pictures. So that's why this is a big deal. To have this kind of detail in real time, it is absolutely fantastic. And for that, let us actually break down a little bit, their actual presentation, right? Okay, so here we actually are, while, the presentation was going. So why is this so impressive? Well, you can actually see in real time in front of us. I will have the link for this presentation also in the description, of course. But here is the big thing, right? Here is the breakdown. And I'm actually going to let this sequence also be, in front of you.
The memory requirements can become impractical to realize for such a level of complexity across a huge level without the need for lots of instancing. And we thought that was a challenge and we wanted to deal with it.
So Colin, let's actually strip this scene right down to the dirt so folks can see what we're talking about.
So, See how simple this is? Relatively simple ground plane. Actually, let's show the triangle so you can actually see what's there. Just a few hundred triangles. Let's pop it back to the beauty render view. But with this new dynamic tessellation capability, we can actually displace that simple geometry and create new three-dimensional geometry of the quality that you're used to with Nanite, with nothing more than layering tile textures and using shader logic.
But basically what it means is the big idea is that the terrain, everything, let me actually go back right here. So everything you see here is, first of all, filmed right in front of us. So this cameraman right there is actually, you know, seeing everything that we see on the screen on his camera, which is really good because, you know, while filming, you can actually see exactly what you're doing, which is already very impressive. But what is even more impressive is this detail to be, you know, put out in real time. It's absolutely crazy. Usually we would be able to get such details in only cutscenes. Like, usually we don't get this kind of stuff. I think maybe Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us Part 2, and very few games were close to this. But I would say not even those were here. Like, this is crazy. And the reason this is such a big deal, at least in my opinion, is like Unreal already kind of blew everyone's minds away when Unreal 5.0 showed up. This is just crazy, right? So as you can see, they can actually strip down, from what I understand, everything was done in Unreal in front of us here. So again, they are stripping everything out. So by the way, this is what layering means, right? I talked so many times about layering textures. This is what I mean. They started from a very basic ground, then they put some just, you know, stone in. And by the way, we can do all this in Quixel Mixer. Actually, there are a lot of chances this is done using Quixel Mixer, since Quixel Mixer is actually done, created by Epic, actually was bought by Epic, and Unreal is using Quixel Mixer. And there's actually a plugin to actually get, you know, the two programs working together better. So just for you to know that, that's why I said so many times Quixel Mixer might be so important, because you can actually reach to this level of realism using it. And so these layers are crazy, right? But again, it's not that big of a deal. It's nothing we cannot do. Is using good textures and using good shading techniques, it will actually get you there. And the reason I'm saying that, this image right here with it looks like noise, right? It looks like a noise texture. Well, this is, for those that don't know and didn't see Unreal 5.0, this is Nanite, right? We did talk about this a little bit before, right? So the way subdivision surface works in Blender, that's the exact same way Nanite works in Unreal. But a subdivision surface now has that feature of adaptive subdivision. Well, Nanite is kind of already had that integrated. And I did say before, I do think Nanite is doing it better. And I mean, after this reveal, I think it's doing it much better now. So why is this impressive, right? First of all, we can see a very few geometry triangles, right? You know, the thing that actually broke the internet when Unreal 5.0 showed up was the fact that, you know, the billion triangles can be computed by the Nanite system right in front of you, because you can actually do it. This is actually even more impressive. The reason is, with just hundreds of triangles, right? They were able to achieve this sort of detail. The reason for it is because apparently, so I did actually, you know, put this down because I wanted, you know, to actually remember this perfectly. It can actually displace simple geometry. So I have a notebook with all the notes that I made while actually watching this, because I just thought this is amazing. So yeah, the fact that they can actually displace. If you remember, we did try, and actually, you know what? Let us do some Blender, because I think that's important as well. I am already in our, robot. Let me actually put the grid back and the floor and the axes. By the way, if you want them to go away, you go to display and just uncheck them up here. So what you want to do is actually, have the plane and then add a displace modifier wherever it is. Here it is. And well, it doesn't really do too good because there's not enough geometry to work with. However, give it like, a subdivision surface before the displacement, of course. And when you will actually do the displacement, which I just realized I will need to actually create, just a second, something like this. This is the way it does it with subdivision on. This is with subdivision off. So that's kind of the point. But for example, here I would bring up a crazy amount of geometry. What Nanite is basically, what the guys at Unreal are saying is Nanite doesn't need as much geometry as we needed before to displace the geometry fine. Nanite is able to do it with less than that. And it actually does show afterwards kind of what that becomes. So after they put all the layers and stuff, this is kind of what it means. So we can still see like the very big triangles, then the layers on top of layers show up, and that's actually also a very important aspect. Layering is crazy important. Now a new amazing thing is actually this one right here.
So imagine our challenge. We're trying to authentically recreate a harsh winter in occupied Paris. That means every prop, every object, every detail, every rooftop needs to be realistically blanketed in snow. So now let's show how we can dial up the snow accumulation on these objects, right? And of course, we can dial it back as desired.
It's making me feel chilly, actually.
Yeah, actually, it's a little cold up here.
Or maybe it's just nerves.
And remember, of course, like Kim said, thanks to this technology, this is all actual geometry.
So basically what they're showing off here is procedural geometry, right? So procedural geometry, again, it's something they did show up. I think it was Unreal 5.2, if I'm not mistaken, that actually brought in procedural environment. And it was impressive. Everything it was doing, again, it was absolutely mind-blowing. It was crazy. I think I said mind-blowing 1,000 times already, because it is. Like, everything they showed here is absolutely crazy to know that they can do. And again, having this is pretty cool because, again, they were doing it in real time, which means basically objects will be able to get snow on them while you're playing, which is something that not a lot of video games, or I don't think any video game really did before. And even if it did, it was not like this. They couldn't do it so good. And the reason that's important, it's because this is not fakery. This is not like we put a bum map and, a texture on. No, this is geometry. So that's important because what do we know about geometry? It can deform. So the reason that it's impressive is because while geometry is there, we can actually interact with it, and that would actually be incredible for video games because, it can actually help not to break the immersion and get you like fully invested into the world they're creating. Moving on, we do have one other part, which is actually the smoke part. So they actually showed this part right here.
Let's go check out that fire barrel over by the watchtower we saw earlier. Yeah, that's the one there. And let's turn on a light to really illuminate the smoke coming out of the barrel. Thank you. Look at that. That's amazing. We could have never achieved effects this realistic in the past.
So this is what we call heterogeneous volumes.
They actually showed the smoke, which at first it seems like, okay, smoke in a video game. I mean, I think we saw that before, right? Yes, but not really. what we do actually see usually in video games are particle sprites, and those you cannot really call smoke simulations because, well, they're not really. What they are, it's more like pictures that actually move. This is nothing like that. These are volumetrics. Is the way we did simulations in Blender, like the way we did simulations in Blender already, and they're just doing it in real time. Again, that's the crazy part, the fact that this is in real time and it's actually moving as fast as it does. Well, hopefully as fast as it does, okay? The game is not out, and that's kind of the one thing that actually scares me. I'm gonna talk a little bit at the end about my, conclusions and what I think it's good and kind of what I am a little bit skeptical of. But again, going to the impressive part, if we actually look at the smoke, and I just realize I'm like right in the middle of the screen and you can't see because of me. Basically what you guys can actually see right here is a volumetric smoke. The reason that is impressive again is it's physical. Again, it's, well, this is not necessarily geometry per se, but it's volumetrics, which is even more requiring when you compute, by the way, and when you do the simulations. And again, the fact that it can run the simulation in real time with everything else around it. I'm just saying, Nanite is on a whole different level. Like even for animations and stuff, usually simulations were rendered separately and then, composited in by the VFX team. At least usually that's the way it goes. It's not necessarily all the time, but still. The fact that this is in real time and they can actually do this is crazy. And the smoke is almost flawless. I mean, you can have, the smoke interacts with itself, basically. It does cast shadow on itself. It casts shadows. Actually, if we play the video, you can actually see the shadow on the ground actually moving when the smoke is moving as well, which is extremely impressive. The light interacts perfectly with it. And also you can actually add, and they do show it afterwards, that you can actually play around with it, add particles, yeah, right here. Add like particles, add fog, add like, whatever kind of stuff you would like to add to it to make it even more believable. But there's another thing that's even crazier, which is the scene that's coming up right here. And I'm gonna put a sequence, probably the part where they actually show the texture right here of Steve. So let me actually get only the part where they have the armor, because I want to talk a little bit about that. So especially because this is the part where we are at with our texturing, right? This for you is what we kind of do, right? We're texturing the, clothes kind of our character, and look at how they make it look. This is beyond impressive. And again, you know what's more impressive than that? Look at the clothes. They are having stretches. They have all these parts that interact with itself. They have all these deformities. They have all these stuff. And I'm trying to look because I actually had one scene that I did thought of. Yeah, right here. So the scene that I was that I noted, because I remember this was a big talk in previously, is this scene right here.
Arms up.
This is the scene from The Last of Us Part 2, which was extremely talked about. The reason for it? It's because it was, I think, the first closed simulation in a video game rendered in real time. The reason that's impressive, it's because simulations in general are not really rendered in real time. Usually, at least not on that level. Like, don't get me wrong, you have simulations, while playing the video game, but not like physics simulations. Those usually are happening That's why, for example, destruction in video games is so hard to do, and you know, games are thinking a lot about how to do it because it's actually hard to pull it off and actually make the game playable. And here you're talking about like smoke simulation, you're talking about displacement all over the place, you're talking about procedural modeling with the snow and all the other things, and we're talking about clothing simulation, which is absolutely impressive. It's absolutely downright crazy that they can actually do it in real time with everything else going around. And there's one more thing, and this one I'm actually gonna play the clip of.
America's hero, dancing around in red, white, and blue underwear. That shield that you hide behind does not belong to you. You are unworthy of it.
This is in real time. This is in real time, and it is the face of the Black Panther in the game. And the reason this is so impressive, look at the details. Look at how this looks. We never had, or at least I cannot think of you know, real-time rendered character that looked this realistic. Again, this is basically what you will get in the game, because it is in real time. It's supposed to be in the game engine. That's how crazy this is. And they do actually show it towards the end of their presentation. Let me see if it's here. Yeah, right here. They do actually prove that this is in Unreal. This is right here, and they're playing it. Now, the way I think this works, it's not like you will get all this like in just you know, the game itself while you're playing. What I think is going to happen is you're going to get a really good, you know, detail level, but this is gonna be like not a pre-rendered scene. It's gonna be in-game, but it's still gonna be kind of a cutscene, if it makes any sense. So it's basically like doing more in those moments, and then when you play it, you know, can do less because you're then able to interact with stuff. So the cinematic thing about the games will probably still be there. But still, this is crazy. This is impressive. It impressed me beyond anything, and I just needed to talk about it. Now, remember, this is Unreal 5.4 we're talking about, so it's still not out yet. I actually did check that out. Let me actually pull this here. Unreal 5.3.2 is still the version that they have. They did say that Unreal 5.4 is in beta version, which means you can probably already use it, but it's experimental, so there might still be some bugs with it. But I think they did promise that at the end of this month or in the next month, they will release it completely to the public, which is crazy because there's one more part we did not cover that impressed me a lot in this showcase, which is here, this part right here, which is the animation. So apparently they worked on the animations that you can do in Unreal. Now, from everything, I didn't try animating in Unreal, to be honest with you. From everyone I've heard talking about it, animating in Unreal is not the easiest thing ever. Usually people would do the animations in other programs and then put it in Unreal, and I think you can totally still do that and still use this. This is actually a new system they've created, which basically will look at the position of your character, and the computer will basically choose the best version of the continuation of your animation. So basically it will be like choosing transitions between animations so that it runs smoothly and way faster on your machine. But what is even more crazy, they announced, and the announcement I think is right here. Yeah, this right here. They announced a pack. This is a sample that they will give to everyone that gets Unreal 5.4. By the way, Unreal is free. I don't know if you do know this. I didn't realize to mention that up until now. Lucky me, right? So Unreal is actually free. However, if you create a product that will reach, I think it was over $1 million in revenue, you will have to pay 5% of, you know, every time you sell a product that is made with Unreal. So let's say, you know, you have a $20 video game, it reaches over $100 million, then you have to pay $4 every single time that game is bought. So out of your 20 bucks, you will just get 16. Well, not exactly, because you also have to pay, you know, the store you're putting it on, but basically you'll get a part and then 5% of that will go to Unreal, which I think it's pretty fair, honestly. And I think it's doing, like, it's incredible. This is an absolute banger of a thing. And they do actually show even more impressive stuff. Oh, by the way, I forgot actually to mention 2 more things about it that they have. Which is going back to the animation of the face here. The reason this is so impressive right here, this is created with MetaHuman. Now, if you don't know what MetaHuman is, it's something that they unveiled, I think, last year at when they released Blender 5.3. I might lie a little bit, I'm not sure if it was right when Blender 5.3 was out, or it's an update of Blender 5. Unreal 5.3. And why it's impressive, it's because everything is done in MetaHuman with motion capture and all that. But what's cool about it is you can actually tweak stuff. So MetaHuman is crazy. I will leave you a link to the presentation of MetaHuman. I think it kind of well, blew my mind. I said it already a million times. I'm gonna say it more. Because you basically can scan, and they showcased that they were able to scan an actress with their phone, and then they could actually rig her face to animate, which is crazy. And I think with her phone in front of her, she was able to actually film and like actually take the you know, some samples of videos with her. That was crazy. Anyway, what is cool about it is that this right here, they mentioned apparently that this was MetaHuman untouched. Sorry. What that means is they did not have to tweak the results that MetaHuman gave them. This is at least what they declared. The fact that when they brought the source, the result from MetaHuman rig, they did not have to tweak it one bit. The results were good to go and they were optimized. So that's again crazy. It's in real time and they were able to do that. That is absolutely unbelievable, at least in my opinion. But yeah, this is kind of the things that took me by surprise. I did not expect them to do this much. This is again a showcase of their procedural works, procedural modeling. And if this looks familiar to you, it's because it's pretty similar. This is the blueprint system that Unreal comes with, and it is, in my opinion, pretty similar with geometry nodes from Blender. So if you don't know that, now of course functions may differ and, you know, the names will probably be different, but the point is that, you know, the whole idea of how it works, it's kind of the same, which I think is super cool, because if you did learn how to, you know, do the geometry nodes, you might have an easier time understanding the blueprints in Unreal, which is super cool. So yeah, another thing they did actually talk about, and I did not want to, you know, skip it, because it's a thing that not a lot of people do talk about. And now I have Fortnite and stuff here, but this is not what I wanted to talk about. What I did want to talk about is, let me see if I can actually find it. Oh, yeah, it's right here. They also did mention that they were able to get the render time with minus 50%. The GPU time is also decreased with 25%. So basically what they did say here is the fact that they were able to make the Unreal Engine, which is already supposed to be extremely crazy good, even faster. And yeah, I just moved myself in real time. Woo, technology. But yeah, this is crazy. And again, this was, to me at least, very impressive. I really wanted to talk about this and post this because I think that this is really potentially changing the game in the gaming industry. Now, I don't know if that's the case. I thought that would be the case with Unreal 5. Well, granted, not a lot of games did come up with Unreal 5 on them to be able to showcase that, but I think this might just change the game. And I think Marvel 1943 might have the biggest chance to surprise people because I don't think anyone saw it coming. However, they did announce it for 2025, and if the news about GTA being delayed are false, which I hope they are, I still want GTA 6 to be next year, they might have a pretty strong competition. But I do think it might surprise people if it runs as good as they say. So yeah, that was kind of the presentation, and now it's about time to talk about what I think about it, right? So I think this is incredible. I think if everything they did mention here is actually doable, that will change a lot the way games are made and really the gaming industry in general, because Unreal really is a titan when it comes to, you know, rendering in real time. But now to be able to do all this, I think they just kind of broke everything. Or at least this is my opinion. It was already kind of mentioned that, you know, for AAA video games, Unreal is kind of the beast that, you know, everyone would want to have. But at this point, I think they're just so far ahead. Now it's actually time to talk also about the skeptical side, which is, again, I am not sure how much this is, you know, all of it can be in real time. Now, I'm skeptical about it because of really two things, which is, first of all, the game state lately, the state of the games at release was not the best. And, you know, I have examples such as Dragon's Dogma 2 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which are the most fresh in mind, which kind of do point out how bad this can get. Of course, they don't have Unreal Engine, so that's the good part. But what I'm saying is, kind of everyone talks a big game, but it's the thing, can it actually run at 60 FPS with all that? Because yes, we see it there, but can it actually run smoothly? And what are the machines that it can run so smoothly on? Because this is most probably on PC, but can it do the same thing on console? Because usually they're weaker, so, you know, yes, games are usually optimized for consoles, but still, it's an important question, at least in my opinion. Really, that's kind of about as skeptical as I can get. Other than that, I am pretty aware that Nanite is crazy good, which is, by the way, the reason I want to move to Unreal a little bit. I want to render some stuff there because I think you can render more stuff than you can render in Blender. So I would like to create assets in Blender, make them go into Unreal, and actually use the two, because the combination between Blender and Unreal, with also Quixel Mixer in the middle, could just be the best combination there is. At least for guys like me that will not want to spend money and stuff. I think that's crazy good. I think these are impressive news, and I think Unreal is out here doing, you know, crazy good. And I cannot wait to actually see what they're unveiling next. And I don't want to make all this about Unreal because Blender 4.1 will also show up at the end of this month. So they actually should have it. Actually, let me check. I think Blender might just be out. Blender 4.1 might just be out. Did I? Yeah. Yes, it is. So for everyone thinking about it, Blender 4.1 is out. Today, the 26th. Well, you will actually see this on the 27th of March. But today, 27th of March, Blender is out, so go get it. And I'm talking Blender 4.0. And actually, you can go and check out everything that is new. By the way, I always love the fact that they use a creator's, design for their new, icon. So on what's new, well, of course, we have CG Cookie to explain us what's going on. But from what I know, oh yeah, they did actually bring a bake node. So now baking can actually be done much simpler than we knew it, which thank God, because that's actually a relief. And it's coming actually with a lot of new stuff. And from what I remember, a lot of improvement also to the render time and to performance in general. And also to the UI, from what I remember, they did promise to actually make a lot of improvements. But I'm actually maybe covering this in some other video when I'm actually gonna get Blender 4.1 and be able to play around in it a little bit to see how everything works. But for now, I'm gonna leave you with this image right here, with an exciting announcement from Unreal and with an Unreal state that actually really is impressive. So this video actually might not have a proper outro. I'm just going to say thank you for watching. I really hope that this is something you do care about, and if you do, please leave in the comments what you think, like what's your opinion on Unreal and how it's developing, and how will that actually impact the gaming industry, in all. And also, please let me know, is this kind of format okay with you? Because I know a lot of you are actually more excited when I actually bring, tutorials out, but I just want to, have these moments when I just give my point of view on something I at least find interesting, and I think it does affect all of us as, 3D artists. So with this actually being said, thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video where I'm actually gonna show you all the textures that I did for the robot in Pixel Mixer. So bye guys!